Today on MHK All Day, we have an update on COVID-19 in Riley County, as well as a look at how local businesses are handling the pandemic.
And later in the show, we take a look at some workout apps that can keep you active while gyms are closed.
Good morning and welcome to MHK All Day. I'm Molly Hackett.
And I'm Monica Diaz. We have an update from a family practitioner who has dealt with those who have been infected with the novel coronavirus. But first, we have an update on COVID-19 in Riley County from Dawson Wagner.
Good morning and welcome to News in 90. I'm Dawson Wagner. Yesterday at 1 p.m., the Riley County Emergency Operations Center released an update of 3 new positive COVID-19 cases in the community. This brings the local total number to 37, with 24 active patients and 13 who have recovered. There have been no COVID-19 related deaths in Riley County. Speaking of Kansas, yesterday, the State Health Department released an update of 2,482 confirmed cases of COVID-19. This is up from 2,211 on Wednesday, with 271 new cases on Thursday, breaking the day-old record of 186 cases, making Thursday the biggest increase of cases in one day. On a lighter note, to conclude this week on News in 90, an announcement from the leading streaming service, Netflix, releasing on Tuesday that they had gained nearly 16 million subscribers in the first quarter of 2020, setting a quarterly record for the streaming service. This comes at a time that a portion of the international entertainment industry has largely shuttered from the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. That is why Netflix noted that it has committed $150 million to support the industry during these trying times. That's your News in 90. I'm Dawson Wagner for MHK All Day.
Students across the country are seeking legal action for tuition refunds after several schools went online due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporter Amelia Andrews brings us more.
Many universities around the country have decided to go online due to COVID-19. While schools have decided to make reimbursements for on-campus housing and dining, there is still a lot of disgruntled students that feel shorted when it comes to refunds. College students have decided to take matters into their own hands by suing their universities wanting refunds for the spring semester and other fees they have paid. At least 5 institutions and universities have had students take legal action claiming that the universities are under a breach of contract and are receiving unjust enrichment from the tuition and fees that students were charged for at the beginning of the semester. Students have also expressed concern that while they are paying for in-person learning, they could be receiving lower quality online education at the same price tag. While some schools are offering refunds for students that paid for on-campus housing and dining, a lot of complaints come from the various fees for resources that are no longer available to students. I messaged a student from the University of Miami that has a lawsuit against her school. I asked her for an interview, but she declined because she doesn't want the focus being on her, because she's just trying to be a representation of all of her classmates that are fighting for the same cause. Maggie Schrader, a senior at K-State, says she understands students' frustration regarding the refunds, but understands the university's reasons.
There's a lot of factors that kind of come into play when it comes to refunds. So obviously, if someone feels that their education's been compromised or that they really haven't received an adequate education that they've been paying for, they do have that right to try and stand up and get what they think they deserve. But also you need to think of all the factors coming into play, like teachers' salaries. They still need money during this time, and they still are working the best they can. It's really an inconvenient time for everyone. Also, I know for K-State, there's some of the student workers that are still receiving their pay, which is important for them because they need to be able to pay their rent and all that kind of stuff. So even though we aren't using like the rec services, the rec's still paying all their student workers, which I think is still important. So all the money can't necessarily be refunded as we would all like it to be, I'm sure.
K-State's Vice President for Communications and Marketing, Jeff Morris, says the on-campus housing and dining fees have been refunded, as well as the money that went towards parking passes. Morris also talks about why certain fees were not reimbursed to students.
Some of the other fees, for example, fees for to support the union and the rec center, are also tied to long-term debt that those facilities have based on renovations and upgrades that we voted on and the students have voted on over the years and have made going forward. So we have debt that we have to service. So when we looked at those particular facilities, we said, really there's a commitment that has to be honored by the university. We have to make those payments.
Despite the challenges professors and students have faced during this historical time, Morris says that he is proud of the way K-State's faculty and students have embraced the transition. In Manhattan, Kansas, I'm Amelia Andrews, MHK All Day.
Jeff Morris says as of right now, no lawsuits have been filed against K-State related to the move to online-only classes for the remainder of the semester.
MHK reporter Stephanie Nutt spoke with the manager of a family practice who has dealt with COVID-19 patients. Here is her Q&A interview with him.
Hello, I'm MHK reporter Stephanie Nutt. I'm here with Brett McMillan, who has been a practice manager at a family practice that dealt with people with the coronavirus. Hi, Brett.
Hi.
People are wanting to open back up businesses and get to going about their, what you could call a normal routine. What would be your opinion on that?
So coming from the situation where I was working, it is probably a little more apparent of how sick you can really be with the coronavirus. So I think that promoting both the economy reopening in some sense, but also still allowing people to practice social distancing and some of the things that we should be doing every day regardless, which is hand washing, covering coughs and sneezes. All of that can still be managed with opening things to a certain extent, but also the quicker you open without those precautions, the more likely you're probably going to end up in a situation where you need to lock the economy back down. So I think it's a careful balance of those two pieces that have to be you have to be very careful that you don't do something too quickly. Otherwise, it could be months and months and months that you're in a social quarantine.
No, in the state of Kansas, they went to the Capitol in Topeka and they protested wanting to open businesses back up here in Kansas locally. Can I get your opinions on that and what you think the state should do?
So I think that there's always kind of the constitutional right for people to assemble and protest. But I think that also is one of the reasons why as a society we've taken the stance of kind of the social distancing, because even something in that sense is you won't see the repercussions of probably someone having the coronavirus for about 14 days after exposure. So I would be curious to see, even if an assembly like that, if there's a number of people who might end up having that same sickness and they're protesting something that, if we all just practice common sense and we're able to express our opinions in other ways, maybe not assembling with that many people, I think there could be a better way to do, to get our opinions out to the public.
All right. Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. To keep updated about the coronavirus, you can visit the cdc.gov and the local health department website.
Up next, we'll look at how to take care of your mental health while practicing social distancing. And later in the show, we will take a look at how the Wildcats fared in the NFL draft.
From the golden flowers that give our state its nickname, to Kansas City's smoky scarlet barbecue, past the unique tint of limestone bedrock, we drive with pride to support future K-Staters. From the hilltops of Lawrence to the familiar streets of Aggieville, we love to show our purple pride. Whether you are K-State alumni or Wildcat fans, purchase the #1 Affinity license plate in Kansas today and help us paint the highway purple.
What ignites inspiration? It's sparked in every victory, every banner carried high. It's lit in traditions that bind each generation together. It's found in the people who push us to never settle and to serve those without a voice. It's iconic. It's groundbreaking. It's a new generation of world changers and answer seekers. What ignites inspiration? Tradition. Passion. You. Land Grant University. entrusted with serving the needs of our communities and world through the nation's most important research and testing. We don't cater to what's popular. We come together to find out what's next, what will save lives and better the world. Since 1863, our values haven't changed, but our methods have. What defines a land-grant university? Community. Progress. You. Open doors, warm hellos, classes spark ideas, traditions create memories, labs lead to partners, late nights, crazy nights. Hail, hail, hail? Studying hard, hardly studying. One last Manhattan sunset, caps and gowns, pomp and circumstance. We're on this journey together, remembering that every open door can lead to a warm hello. What is the K-State experience? Family, pride, you.
Unemployment rates in Kansas have nearly doubled since the start of the pandemic.
Studies show that this is one of the first times since the recession in 2008 where unemployment has shot up so quickly. While some are hoping the pandemic ends soon, others are worried about what tomorrow brings them, as this has been a rough time for many citizens. As many college students aren't receiving the stimulus package, many are sure that the White House will come up with a solution to the financial strain many families are going through.
Spring break, I got back and everything was shut down. And I worked for Old Navy actually, and my job went on furlough. So as a college student, there was a lot of concern with me paying rent, if I should move back home and everything, because I was out of a job. But over the past few weeks, they've had so many people buying and shopping online that I had the opportunity to go back to work this week.
Many seniors weren't expecting to graduate into a recession, but there are a few things that these seniors can do to remain proactive during the economic crisis. Recessions are not what any senior thinks about when they're thinking of graduation and hunting for jobs, but that's not the case for the class of 2020. With the COVID-19 pandemic spreading across the world, it has put the job hunt on hold for many seniors, causing a lot of frustration and anxiety. Julia Jorns, a senior at Kansas State, expressed her feeling of hopelessness while explaining how her job search has gone thus far.
And right now, a lot of companies are on like a freeze for hiring. And so I think that built a lot of like stress and anxiety. But I know that it'll eventually get better and that we just have to keep building our skills, and that's what I'm really trying to do.
While many seniors are feeling this way, Carrie Keller, the director of the K-State Career Center, said that they are there to help after graduation and want to do everything possible to help current students and alumni feel supported.
I would also say it's really important for students to take advantage of resources that they have available to them. The Career Center is just one of those. I would say utilize your network of faculty, of former supervisors, internship supervisors. Think of your whole ecosystem in terms of who you have connections with.
While it might not feel like the ideal situation, she says that graduates will need to remain patient and need to keep their heads up because this will turn around. But in the meantime, for many college graduates, moving back home is not their first choice, but it's probably the most financially responsible decision that they can make. Plus, PowerCat Financial has some tips to help their money go farther during this pandemic.
And it's really important that you limit your spending, avoid debt as much as possible, maybe even staying with your parents if that's an option, continuing to live with roommates after graduation, those sorts of things. I would say going through your expenses and canceling any recurring subscriptions. People that have extra cash flow should be putting it towards an emergency fund.
As of now, all students can do is stay patient, keep filling out applications, and make sure that they are taking care of themselves. In Chapman, Kansas, I'm Molly Hackett for MHK All Day. If you're struggling to find work, there are some places like Handshake or Indeed that could expedite the job process.
An unseen side effect of social distancing could be that it takes a toll on your mental health. MHK All Day reporter Angela Sawyer finds out what you can do to protect your mental health.
With most people practicing social distancing for almost a month now, physical health, food, and job insecurity is the topic on a lot of people's minds. An unknown factor is also having a heavy impact: mental health. And uncertainty about jobs and how to make ends meet have a lot of adults feeling stressed. Nicole Gonzalez, a therapist specializing in marriage and family, said that social distancing can affect the mental health of people of all ages.
I think right now, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of loss, just kind of loss of what we knew to be normal. This includes like relationships, they're more strained because we're not interacting with each other every day. Jobs, people are not going to work. Just a loss of routine.
Gonzalez said that people are feeling isolated since they can't be around their support system. And also the increase of anxiety has been shown by people not sleeping or people worrying about themselves or their loved ones. A lot of spring and summer events had to be canceled to prevent the spread of this pandemic, and adults and children will be missing events that they have been looking forward to, and many are grieving the loss of those experiences.
Gonzalez says that some of the best way to help you cope is to spend some time outside, either walking your dog or spending time with your family. The feeling of fresh air can give you a pick.
Along with spending some time outdoors, keeping a routine and setting small goals for yourself can be helpful. A group at Kansas State that is focusing on female mental health is Stand Up For Your Sister. Stand Up For Your Sister has been reaching out through social media to help get to those in need. Lauren Ashlinger, the traveling team captain, said that even though they cannot be face-to-face, they're still using social media to reach out to others who need help.
We are still providing funding for women in need of counseling services, even if that is online. So our Instagram, we actually have a post with a list of online resources like BetterHelp, for example, that people can utilize during this time. It is a really difficult time, but that doesn't mean that there is not help available.
If anyone is in need of help, Pawnee Mental Health is available to reach out to if you need someone to speak to. Angela Sawyer, in Olathe, MHK All Day.
Up next, we'll be going to our sports team with what new sports documentaries to watch. And later on in the show, we have a brief look at how to shake up your quarantine meals.
Knowledge is more than a piece of paper. It's being committed to leaving the world a better place, dedicated to limitless learning, conducting research that is tried and true, and then tried again. Student experience, unrestricted, proven. You. The heart-pounding roar, a sea of purple, wielding twists and turns, the sincere smile and simple phrase. Legacies that span generations, blurring the line between fans and family. Believing we bleed a different color. Foundations defined by a single stone. That special place you love full well. What? Loyalty. Purple. You. Of who we have become and what we can become tomorrow. We find inspiration in the past, new possibilities in our present, and anticipation for tomorrow's journey. Yesterday's triumphs are today's proud traditions. A transformation where a hall becomes a home, students become family, and research becomes reality. How do we build upon K-State's strong foundation? Innovation, collaboration, you. Open doors, warm hellos, classes spark ideas, traditions create memories, labs lead to nights. Hail, hail, hail. Studying hard, hardly studying. One last Manhattan sunset, caps and gowns, pomp and circumstance. We're on this journey together, remembering that every open door can lead to a warm hello. What is the K-State experience? Family, pride, you.
Welcome back. We send it now to our sports reporter, Daisy Hagedorn.
Thanks, Monica. This week, we have fitness apps you can use at home, a sports documentary for your Sunday nights, and a look at which K-State players are still waiting to be called in the NFL draft. out with Self.com's top 3 workout apps. The first one is Gold's Amp Fitness and Training. The app can be downloaded on iOS and Android. Gold's Amp offers audio and video guided workouts from pro trainers. They have a variety of options with 12 cardio and 3 strength categories. Next up is Nike Training Club, which is available on iOS and Android. In the app, you can create your workout for a specific muscle group, the time you have to spend, and workout types such as strength, cardio, yoga, and mobility. Another popular option right now is choosing if the user would like to use body weight, basic such as dumbbells or resistance bands, or full, which is essentially everything you'd find at a gym. The last one is Daily Burn, also available on iOS and Android. This app allows you to do hundreds of video and audio workouts from trainers and never having to go to the gym. On top of that, Daily Burn has a feature to stay connected with people who are going through the same fitness journey. It's pretty hard to watch sports right now, but not impossible. If you're looking for something to watch, ESPN's The Last Dance premiered Sunday night. The documentary gives sports fans never before episodes now on WatchESPN.com and the ESPN app.
48 hours.
No matter what we did, it seemed like it was a story.
Scotty was being selfish.
When the trust is broken, it's sort of shocking.
I never hated Scotty. 6 championships in 8 years.
We were the greatest team ever.
What time is it? I'm gonna ridicule you until you get on the same level with me. That man getting a free run to me.
It was his team.
My mentality was to go out and win at any cost.
The NFL draft started last night, April 23rd, and while there were no K-State players selected, you can still watch out for 4 cats patiently waiting for their name to be called. First up is offensive lineman Scott France, who weighed in at 303 pounds and 6 foot 5 inches. In his 4 years of participation, he played in 51 games and was honored second team All Big 12. Another cat to watch for is running back James Gilbert, who weighed in at 198 pounds and 5 foot 9 inches. During the 2019 season, Gilbert ran for over 700 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Here's James Gilbert. He's stonewalled, but he spins free. Nothing but...
Up next is wide receiver Dalton Schoen, weighing in at 209 pounds and 6 foot 1 inches. Playing in just 35 games, Schoen had over 1,500 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. And finally, we have defensive end Reggie Walker. Weighing in at 250 pounds and 6 foot 2 inches, Walker had over 100 solo tackles during his 50 games played. Walker also added 5 pass deflections and 9 forced fumbles.
Only 3 coming in. Pressure, the ball is loose. Ellinger may have recovered Reggie Walker.
While we're sad to see these seniors leave, they're departing with full love and support from everyone. The entire K-State family can't wait to see their impact in the NFL. You can watch the NFL Draft live tonight at 6 p.m. and tomorrow at 11 a.m. That's all we have this week in sports and wellness. Check us out next week for our fitness tips and sports news. Back to you, Monica.
We've got tacos. We'll be ending on a delicious note, so don't go anywhere.
Know a spot that I love full well.
'Tis not in forest, nor yet in dell. Ever it holds me with magic spell.
I think of thee, alma mater.
We'll carry thy banner high, long, long. May thy colors fly.
Loyal to thee, thy children will swell the cry. Hail, 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 alma mater.
Our community is more than a group of people. It's a place where the golden rule becomes the purple rule. It's recognizing the value of every individual and affirming the importance of diversity. It's freedom to have a different perspective. It's honesty underscored with understanding. It's becoming a piece of the greater good. We are many, we are one. Most of all, we are family. What defines the K-State community? Compassion, honesty, you. We may take different paths, but we all move forward, preparing for our future in the same historic library. We meet friends in the bustling student union and experience the exciting atmosphere of campus events. We appreciate individual interests and shared passions. Many different paths, one distinct destination. How does campus life become life experience? Connections, involvement, you.
Are you busy at home on Tuesdays? Reporter Bailey Matthews has a themed dinner for you and your family to look forward to.
Something that you can do to bring excitement into your home this quarantine are doing things that you can look forward to, such as Taco Tuesday. So now we have to make sure we have all of our ingredients here. I have our taco meat, an avocado, cheese, a tomato, onion, butter, and our tortillas. So I'm using corn, but you can use flour. And now we just have to prepare it. So let's get to it. Go ahead and chop your onion to your liking. And do the same with your tomato. Go ahead and cut your next ingredient and make sure that you clean your knife in between each one. Go ahead and turn that stove on and cook your taco meat the way you like it. So now that our taco meat is done, we can get our tortillas ready. And now I'm going to get a spoonful of butter, put that in there, and let that melt just a tiny bit. Grab our tortilla, put that in there. And what I do is I make little circle motions in that butter. Okay, now that our tortillas are ready, it's time for the fun part. So now that we have everything that we've prepared on the table, it's time to make our tacos. And next, I'll put on the lettuce. A little bit, because we don't want it to be too chunky. Okay, so our tacos are done. Thank you for spending my Taco Tuesday with me, and I hope you enjoy your next one.
That's all we have for our show this week.
Thanks for streaming in. We'll see you next week.